Hey, Stu from UAVfutures here today, having some shenanigans in the studio. I'm super pumped. I've got an exciting video for you. We've got Wingman Jono. How you going, mate?
I'm good.
What we're going to be doing, the reason I've got Wingman Jono here is because we're getting together. We're going to be doing a wing build for you guys. Now, you might have seen a recent video we're going through that was of the bling wing. It's so much fun. One of the best sessions I've ever had.
Oh, it's good.
UAVfutures is all about getting people flying and just having a good time with your mates. And for me, a wing like this is critical. It is so easy for beginners to get up and get flying. So that's what we've got here today. Now, you've got the kit, I've got the kit version, you've got the plug and play. So I'm going to be following along with you, building my own in the background, but you're going to be going through the entire process, how to put it together, bind it to your radio, get the setup on your radio, all that sort of stuff working. Yep. What is it about the Sonic AR though? They're linked down below. Why do you think they're a good beginner sort of wing?
Firstly, like the ease of putting together is just crazy easy to put these together. The other thing being is the size of them. They're much more stable being such a big wing, so they're really easy to fly. As you see, we went out, we flew a couple of smaller ones. You had some good crashes with those guys because they're really twitchy. But this guy really stable, as you saw, for bling wing, makes it a breeze to fly. Yep. The durability and repairability of these guys is awesome because they're made of the EPP foam. Basically, like they're gonna take a hit, and if they take a hit so hard it breaks, you can just hot glue, tape it back together. It'll fly as good as new.
I'm actually going to put some footage right now of Tony when he crashed his, and you watch it. It's like, it's ridiculous. He just put it back together and then it kept going. So check this out. If you want to know durable, watch this.
Oh! That's in big pieces. That was a heavy crash into a brick wall.
All right, let's have a look. I reckon.
You're just going to launch it straight out there?
Well, let's make sure that she's still working. Let's not get ahead of ourselves yet. Let's have a look. Now, look, I'm optimistic, Stuart.
All right, it's away.
As you can see, they are super durable, you know, just crashing into chimneys, keep on going. No, and if you do break them, mine's full of hot glue. But yeah, what we're going to do, you're pretty much taking the lead on this video, so I'm going to be in the background following along. I am going to do a little bit of soldering because my station is set up for right hand. You're left-handed, but we'll go through the step-by-step process on how to put a beginner, I guess, how to put one of these wings together, get flying with your friends. And if you've never tried a wing before and you've already got all your drone gear, let me tell you, it is so much fun. You have to give it a go.
Oh, we're going to have a blast once these are done.
So you ready to kick it off and get started with our wing build?
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right. Alrighty, so we're going to start with your plug and play build because I know that's super easy to build. I'm going to learn a bit and then that's where I'm going to be putting together my kit build.
Yeah.
But okay, so what's the very first thing we need to do? We've got our FPV kit up here. You're going to need a VTX, and I'll link all this down below. We've got a VTX, an FPV camera. We've got a receiver antenna. It comes with a prop and some little, I guess these are balance leads. We're going to use that for a harness you were talking about.
Yeah, we're going to make up.
The first step, the thing we need to do, and I guess what's the first step we need to do?
Okay, so pretty much because everything's already pre-mounted, we can get in and start throwing the wing together. Straight off the bat, we're going to throw our carbon spar in. Now this is for support on the wings. Yep. Keeps it nice and sturdy.
Do I put it into this hole here?
Yeah, it's going to go into that hole there.
All right.
Click that. Now, before you clip it together,
I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm jumping the gun.
So before you clip it together, you've got the servo leads.
Oh, and I should say too, if you look in the top of this, I'm going to put a picture on the screen, but it is so tidy. Like you've got your ESCs there, you've got your motor, it's already mounted on the back. Like it's almost ready to rock and roll after we do this step.
Yeah, they've pretty much done all the like tricky parts for you, which is a nice thing.
So if you're lazy like me, maybe the plug and play version is a lot better.
Oh, okay, definitely. All right. Alright, so yeah, your servo leads are going to feed through a little hole in the back here.
Yep.
They are. We're going to get those guys in. And then once you've got that through, you can press the wing together. And the real cool thing about putting these wings on, they have just a little thumb screw that goes into the middle mount there.
And I'll put a close-up on the screen as well as we're doing this. Yep.
And we screw those guys in. And that, with the carbon rod, is going to have it nice and fastened.
And we do the same for this side?
And repeat on that side,
okay.
Before we screw this other wing on, this is a point where we'd want to put our FPV kit in just to make it easier to thread through. So it's going to go into the camera holder hole there, and there's a channel and there's a hole on the side of a fuselage here that you feed your wiring through.
Before you clip it together?
Before you clip it together. It's going to make it heaps easier.
Yep, and then it's the same as that side. So push it together, screw the thread in.
Push together, screw it up.
Alright, so we're going to cut to when that's done. Alright, our camera's in, it's screwed together. I'm getting excited already because I know how much fun these things are. What's our next part? We've got receiver, or the remaining of our FPV gear, the antenna of the VTX. What would you put in next?
Okay, so from this point, I'd probably hook in the receiver next.
Yep.
That's a real easy one to do. It's pretty much just a matter of channel 1 motor, channel 2 you want your left wing, sorry. Channel 3 you want your right wing.
Yep.
And that's pretty much hooking up the receiver.
And these things too, they all just have like a nice little plug on the end. So if your receiver's got pins, they just plug straight in.
Plug straight
And
in.
it might be different, but depending on what radio system you're using. But we'll show you a guide anyway on how we set it up, because we're going to be using FreeSky and our Tyrannus, and I'll link all those receivers, all that sort of stuff. But we'll go through that model making or whatever towards the end of the video. All right. So if you want to put that in, and then I'm amazed how simple this is. These are things we got left. This is what you put out on the bench for me and said that's what we need to work with.
So basically what we need to be doing now is we need to be setting up our FPV kit. That's going to require us to do a little bit of soldering, it is, just to join like the video wires, and we're going to be soldering up a special little power harness for the kit, so the FPV is like isolated from the servos and stuff like that.
And that's important too, so you don't get any noise coming into your video. Yep.
That's basically just going to clean up the video feed, keep it noise free. It's going to make it really nice flying. So yeah, we're going to head off to the bench and we're going to do a little bit of soldering and show you how we set that up.
Yep. All right. Now I'm going to take over the soldering part, because Jono, I've got my station set up as right-handed. You're left-handed. It's going to be very awkward. But what's the first thing that you would say I need to do? So I've got my little harness, and then just some of the cables. So this is the one that comes out of the VTX. This is the one that comes out of the camera. What would you do first?
Real easy part. Just put the video wires together.
Okay.
That's a good start.
Yep. All right. So I'm going to clip the end of this.
Yeah. You can clip the end off all those.
All right, so you'd solder those two together first. Mm-hmm. And this is going to happen a lot. You're going to see is joining a lot of wires, but it's really, really easy. All you got to do is strip the ends and then get a little bit of heat shrink out. Put the little bit of heat shrink on, and then we're just going to dab the ends with solder, and then they're just going to solder right up. So I'll show you how to do that now. Turn on my soldering iron. Now, good little tip too, when you've got some little wires like this, a little bit of blue tack makes your life so much easier. So just a little bit of solder on the end of the iron. 1, 2, that's it, and then, ow, almost burnt myself, and then we just hook these up together. Boom. So that's one wire, and then we're just going to put a little bit of heat shrink, heat that up, and then that's it. Bob's your uncle. That's our first connection done. So if you need to extend some wires or anything like that, that's how simple it is as well. Rightio, Jonas, I've done that. Next step, buddy. What are we doing? For those following along at home?
Alright, now we've done the video, we need power for them to run, obviously, so what we're going to be doing...
And we're running ours just on 4S. We're building this for a 4S.
Yeah, we're just going to be using 4S for ours, because we want them to go fast.
Okay, yeah.
Alright, so basically we're going to be using this 4S balance lead connector there. For the 4S, we don't need the middle pins, we only need the 2 outside pins, so we're going to be taking those 3 out of the middle. Seems a bit weird, but
what's
we don't
the
need
process of taking those out?
Those guys in those things, you can usually just yank them out.
Okay, nice. Look at this, done. Alrighty.
Nice and easy.
Okay, yep,
now
that was very easy.
Yeah, now we got our red and black positive and negative.
Uh-huh.
Now we just got to hook our camera and our VTX power up to those guys.
Okay, so this, so we've got the positive and negative from our camera. We've got to hook that into this wire, and the same to power our VTX.
Yes,
correct. So we're going to harness these together and then hook it up to this.
Yep, that's right.
All right, I can do that. So very, very similar sort of process. Strip the ends. And do that for this one. I'm going to cut this little plug off the end.
Yep.
Alright, and a nice little tip too, I'm going to put some heat shrink over this first, so because it's going to be a bit tricky once all the wires are on, so I'm going to do that. These, so they're the same length, and I'm going to put 1 large piece of heat shrink, and then 2 smaller pieces, and you'll see why I do that as well. Alrighty. Now look, I've given myself a bit of room, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to strip this end as well. I'm going to twist those together. I'm going to hit those with a little bit of solder. Take that to the side. Now for this next part, because we've got to splice some wires together, now some people might do this differently, but my technique, what I like to do is I actually like to fray the wires a little bit and then sort of twist them together before I add any solder, and I find that makes for a much nicer, cleaner little join that's also stronger. Do that with the negative wires as well, or the grounds. Alright, now I'm going to hit them with a bit of solder. And now the last little bit, our last joints, we just solder those together. Very, very similar. So this positive to positive. ground to ground. And now hopefully it's apparent of why I had 2 little bits of extra heat shrink, so we'll put our heat shrink over the top on both of these. That's all looking good. And then finally, that's why I had this large piece as well. So I'm going to slide that over the top of both of them. Shrink it down. All right, and we've got our beautiful connection. How's that look, Jono?
Yep, looking good.
Righto, so now that soldering's done and using my right hand, so sorry Jono, I only didn't have your left hand set up, but we'll zoom out and then Jono's going to continue with the rest of, I guess, putting it together and showing us how easy it is.
Yeah, thanks for your soldering there, Stu.
No worries,
All right.
You left-handed brother.
Oh. All right, so now pretty much it's a case of just re-threading it through to where the camera goes. So we're going to take the camera plug and we're going to put it through those preset holes there. We're going to plug the camera back in. And then we're going to secure that down with some like double-sided tape.
Yep.
Now that we've got that threaded through, we'll throw that screw back in the wing. You can release that wing to make it easier to thread through. It's a little bit fiddly to try and just thread it through normally. All right, now on the other end, we put our VTX in.
And all we had coming out of that too was video and then the power.
Yep. Just the video and the power, that's all you're going to need for it. The camera's got an inbuilt OSD on this one, fortunately, so we get all our voltage off of that if you need it. And that's the...
Are we done?
That's pretty much... We need a battery.
Okay.
But we need a battery, but that's pretty much it.
All right.
So yeah, with that balance harness, what'll happen with that one is pretty much you plug that straight into there, and that's going to power your VTX in your camera. Plug it in. Cool, we got power there.
Yep.
Camera will be going as well.
Yep.
Excellent
and
stuff.
And then when we're ready to power the...
And then when we're ready to power the rest of the setup, we'll plug the normal lead in, and that should boot up. All right, and now after we've got all the components in there, it's just going to be a matter of fastening the components down. We'll do that with a bit of like double-sided tape. You can use like velcro and stuff if you need to, however you prefer to fasten it. All right, so we're going to tape this all down, tidy it up a bit, and we'll cut back to what it looks like after we've secured all the components in the bay correctly.
Can you give it a 3, 2, 1 boot?
You want me to do it again?
Right,
yeah.
no, just right now.
Yeah, 3, 2, 1.
You gotta say boot,
I gotta say boot. 3, 2, 1, boot. Boop. Now everything's looking all nice and neat. All we gotta do is give the antennas a bit of a mount there so they don't get torn up or ripped out or anything. Is we're gonna put a little bit of a slit there to tape one of them down, and the other one will mount upright. I'm gonna run a little slit down here. Antenna, and we're going to press it down into the slot there so it's out of the way. And then we're going to throw a little bit of tape over the top of that just to keep it nice and secure. So yeah, exact same process for the other antenna. We're going to give it a cut and we're just going to tape it across that way. Alright, so that's the technical bench parts. All we have to do now is we have to throw together the GoPro holder, and we've got to throw the winglets on, and then we're all done. Alright, so just to finish up, we've got a couple of little things that we need to do. We need to put the winglets on the end. Those are basically like screw on. You can just screw them on. What we're going to do is we're going to throw it on with a bit of hot glue for a bit of extra reinforcement so they stay on there real good. The other part you're going to have to do is you're going to have to put together the GoPro holder for it. This is going to be put in a few different combinations. We've done it for a session. This is one of the parts we wish they'd change on it. We're going to probably swap it out for a 3D printed part because we find the 3D printed parts to be much more reliable. We're going to link the file down below for that one, but we're just going to stick it in there for now just so we can get it up and flying. Cool. Alright, that's that guy on. Done. Okay, so for winglets, we're going to hot glue those on, and then we're just going to screw them down so they're nice and firm. So straight up, we're going to throw a little bit of hot glue on there. Alright, we're going to press that firm before it sets. And there's 2 screws to go in each end. And you just fasten those up, and that's the winglet done. Alright, so now that we've got the winglets done, we can clip the top on. We've got that good to go. You can throw the prop on. Just for safety, I'm going to leave the prop off because we're going to have to go off and do the radio side for you guys and show you how to set that up. Another little tip before you go out flying, you can throw some tape on the leading edges of the wing and on the structure to reinforce it. That'll make it really strong, means it's not going to break in a crash. You can use just normal clear tape. I like to pimp mine out, make it like the bling wing. We throw some nice colored tape on there. We're going to link some different colored tapes down below there for you so you can pick some. Now we're going to cut off and do the radio stuff. Here we are back on the bench. We're going to do the radio setup now. I'm going to show you the steps involved in getting it set up so that it flies correctly. As you can see, this one's already bound up. It's already all set up and going. We've got our flaps working correctly. I'm going to show you the steps involved to getting to this part. Okay, so the first part that we're going to do is we're going to set up a new model for this one. So we're going to go into our pages there, and we're going to select a new model. We're going to create model. Alright, model 47. We're going to rename that one. We are, so we're going to change the page over. We're going to go to model name. Just set it as like whatever you'd like to call it. We're going to set it as wing today because that's what we want. Okay, so we've got model name there. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to wind back up here and we're going to bind it to the receiver. So we're going to select that, and then we're going to press the bind button on the receiver and turn the power on that so it connects to it. Alright, we're going to exit there once we've got the binding happening on the receiver. And this whole thing, it might be different based on the type of radio that you have. This is a process for FR Sky. Now that we've finished our binding, we're going to have to make a mix so that it flies correctly in the air. This thing doesn't have a flight controller like a quad does, so we're basically going to have to set it all up manually. Go through the pages till we find our inputs. With a wing, there's no rudder for yaw on there, so we can ditch that guy. We don't need him. Alright, and we're going to go across the page and we're in the mixer section. Mixer, this is where we're going to do a mix of a flap, so basically the movement corresponds with your stick movements. So what we're going to need to do is, at the moment these channels are only controlling one flap each, so we're going to have to mix them in with the other ones, so those two channels 2 and 3, are controlling 2 flaps. This may be different depending on your receiver or your radio. I'm going to set it up so you can see how it works on the FR Sky with the receiver that I'm using at the moment. Okay, so first up we're going to need to select the aileron and we're going to mix that one in with the elevon. So we're going to bring that down to channel 3 and we're going to put that on there. So now we've got those two mixed in there. So that channel 3 is now going to be controlling both flaps. And we're going to bring this one up into channel 2 just by selecting and winding it up. And now we've got 2 channels mixed on channel 2 and 2 mixed on channel 3. So it's going to be controlling both flaps on both channels. Now this may be different depending on which way your servos are facing for different wings. But what you need to go through now is we need to go into edit and we need to adjust the weight on these so that the flaps are moving the correct direction. If you've got your servos facing different directions, you may have to adjust this differently. But I know how it's going to go on this one, so I'm going to adjust it so it suits this wing. If you find with this, if your flaps are moving the wrong way, try moving them into the opposite ends. So move them into the negatives instead of the positives until you get the flap moving the right direction. And with the wing that we're setting up today, I'm going to leave the weight at 50. And what that does is it basically has less throw in the flaps, so your movement is a little more docile. If you go full max 100, it may make it a little bit crazy, particularly if you're a beginner. Same on this one, we're going to go into edit, we're going to select the weight, and we're going to take that down to minus 50. Exit out of that one. Now for this particular one, I know that this one needs to be set at positive 50 to make sure that the flap is moving the right way. And this one we will need to move to negative 50, and that'll get that one going the right way. And this basically dictates the direction the flap moves when you move the stick. So it's all correct. And that's how easy it is to mix your channels there. Now we're going to throw the prop on the wing and we're going to cruise out and go have a fly.
Rightio, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Huge shout out to Wingman Jono. What I'm going to do, I want you guys to, if you're on Instagram, he's always putting out nice little wing tips. Go check that out. I'm going to link that down below. It should pop up here. Go check out his Instagram. But now it's time for the fun stuff. We've built our quad with him. We've set up the radio. Let's go have some fun in one of the most, I guess for me, special sessions I've ever had. That was with the bling wing, and you might have seen this montage before. I'm going to put it on the end of this video because for me, it really epitomizes how fun wings are and how well they go together with drones, and it was just an awesome time. So I'm going to just let that roll out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Huge shout out again to Wingman Jono. If you haven't tried a wing, definitely do it. A very, very easy stuff. Subscribe for more FPV related wing action. Share some love for Wingman Jono, and as always, happy winging.